Members of the General Assembly, it is my distinguished honor to present you the Governor of the great state of Tennessee, the Honorable Bill Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'm sure glad you're standing there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Very honored. Lieutenant Governor McNally, I'm really glad that you're here, sir. We've been praying for your recovery, and it's not the same not having you sitting right here. It doesn't quite seem right, but it sure does seem right for you to be here. So thank you, sir, for joining us today. Speaker Sexton, Speaker Pro Tem Hale, Speaker Pro Tem Marsh, Deputy Speaker White, members of the 114th General Assembly, justices, constitutional officers, cabinet members, staff, friends, and my family. Thank you all for coming together as we celebrate on our state, reflect on our incredible success, advance toward her bright future. It is my highest honor to serve you. Thank you. I want to give a special thank you to one more person. This time last year looked really different for Maria and for me. After receiving a challenging diagnosis just 6 months earlier, Maria had just completed her chemotherapy and was preparing for a bone marrow transplant. So last year, for the first time since I became governor, Maria was not here. She didn't attend the State of the State address in person. That night, we did not know how remarkable her healing journey was going to be. Maria and I want to thank you tonight, all across the state, for your love, for your encouragement, most of all for your prayers for healing. And I want to thank you, Maria, for all that you do for me, for all that you do for Tennessee, and for being you. Thank you. As we enter our 6th year of working together, the state of our state is strong and resilient and ready for the future. And that is thanks to the hard work of the people in this room. But there is more work to do. The world around us is changing. Every day brings unique challenges, new challenges. Tennesseans are counting on us to face those challenges with wisdom and discernment. So tonight I want to reiterate something. I've got 3 years left. There is a lot to do. And we cannot and should not slow down, not for a second. Tennessee is a remarkable place with a richness of passionate people of all kinds, with an unrivaled culture, deep-rooted traditions. We're also a state that is focused on opportunity and security and freedom for all her people. So in 2024, and frankly for the remainder of my time in office, I believe our job is to fortify that which has been built over the years and to remember the work that it took to get here. When thinking about what lies ahead, I'm reminded of a historical account of a Jewish man named Nehemiah from the Old Testament. Nehemiah, who was a high official of a Persian king, he hears that his beloved city of Jerusalem is in ruins. So Nehemiah sets off on a mission to rebuild the city, and the wall that surrounded it. Knowing that this is no small task, he enlists the help of the people of Jerusalem. He directs every person of all ages and trades and abilities to take their spot on the wall that surrounds the city, as the story goes, in order to protect the progress that was to be made and ensure that the work that was done was not to be done in vain. By the end of the story, the people of Jerusalem find success thanks to their work together. And it becomes clear that through the experience of rebuilding the city and restoring the wall, the people restore themselves as well. Throughout my life, I have often come back to the story of Nehemiah because it reminds me that even two people who could be very different can stand side by side and work together for a shared purpose, and that each individual has a responsibility to hold their spot on the wall. In 2024, Tennessee is as strong as ever. Generations before us have done their part in building our state into what it is today, and now we must keep it for future generations by holding our spot on the walls that protect our lives, our way of life, by further enriching this place that we call home. It's up to us to hold our spot on that wall. It all starts with our foundation, and Tennessee's firm foundation is possible thanks to a legacy of fiscal responsibility. Now more than ever, people across this nation are turning to Tennessee as a model for economic prosperity, and it's clear why. Over the past 5 years, Tennessee's been ranked as the fastest growing economy of all 50 states, the #1 state for fiscal stability, a top state for business, the second lowest tax per capita state in the nation, and the lowest debt state in America. Any state would envy the position that we've been in. And the members of this Tennessee General Assembly, you who are here tonight, and your predecessors, you're the ones to thank because of your unwavering commitment to keeping our state in a strong financial position by balancing our budget, maintaining a healthy savings account, cutting taxes for Tennesseans year after year. In Tennessee, we spend within our means, we steward dollars wisely, we plan ahead. And it's this mentality that has garnered a AAA bond rating for 9 consecutive years and keeps us well positioned to flourish. Over the past few years, we have had extraordinary growth. So this year, while our revenue growth is returning to normal, that new normal is 40% higher than it was just 3 years ago. We have a very strong economy in Tennessee, an economy that is built to withstand even the pressure of our country's uncertain economic future. So this year, we'll bolster our decades-long commitment to fiscal responsibility, starting with a $20 million investment in Tennessee's Rainy Day Fund, building our state reserves to $2 billion. We'll also propose tax cuts again by simplifying our franchise tax and making Tennessee an even stronger choice for companies that choose to do business in our great state. There's been a lot of talk and conversation about this change to our franchise tax because it is incredibly important. We became aware of the need to change the law, which has been in place for almost 90 years. So we crafted a solution that resolves the issue now, so that we can move forward now. And this is the best strategy to ensure that we do right by Tennessee taxpayers. Because we have budgeted wisely through years of extraordinary revenue growth, Tennessee is now equipped to resolve this tax issue and make Tennessee an even better place to live and work and raise a family. This is an example of how we can turn a challenge into a better outcome for Tennesseans. Tennessee's fiscal management approach has set the standard for how states across the country should operate, and families and businesses nationwide have taken note. Everyone knows Tennessee continues to be one of the most moved-to states in the country. But did you know this? In the last 3 years, as people and companies have shifted to the Southeast, so has America's economy. For the first time in our nation's history, just 6 states in the Southeast, including Tennessee, are contributing more to America's GDP than the entire Northeast. And that includes New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. Tennessee has emerged as an economic powerhouse for this country. And all of this incredible growth is exactly why we need to think about what Tennessee will look like, not just next year or 10 years from now, but 25 and 50 years from now. That's why we've made infrastructure a top priority, building roads and bridges and sewer systems and more for the future. After passing the Transportation Modernization Act last year, a bipartisan effort with the men and women in this General Assembly, TDOT's 10-year plan is in motion all across urban communities and rural communities alike. Just a few weeks ago, Tennessee was ranked by U.S. Consumer as the state with the best roads in America. And thanks to our work together, we have a plan to keep it that way. And speaking of roads, I want to just take a minute to thank all of our TDOT workers who were everywhere just a few weeks ago. They were everywhere, in the snow, in the ice, in the cold, taking care of Tennesseans. Now they're everywhere taking care of potholes. TDOT workers are public servants. We thank them. Companies have invested $35 billion in our state since 2019, creating more than 211,000 new jobs and counting for Tennesseans. That means real opportunity for families across our state, from Rogersville to Ripley. Today, Tennessee's unemployment rate is well below the national average. The state unemployment rate saw an all-time low over the summer. And our rural counties are no exception. Since day one, I believe that Tennessee's success can be measured in part by the strength of our rural communities. We've prioritized economic investment across rural counties and developed a workforce strategy that works for all Tennesseans, and it's paying off. 5 years ago, we had 15 distressed counties. Today, we have just 8. And the statistic that really tells the story, or certainly puts an important point on it, for the first time in history, Tennessee's poverty rate is below the national poverty rate. When we talk about Tennessee's record economic growth, many people might think that its biggest beneficiary is Nashville or one of our large urban centers, but in 2023, Haywood County in rural West Tennessee had the largest amount of capital investment and the second number of new jobs announced of all 95 counties. This investment and these jobs are changing lives, creating an enormous generational impact, and it's only just beginning. And real Tennesseans are proof of that fact. This evening, we're joined by a real Tennessean, Derek Montague, who was born and raised in Haywood County. In the past, a rural high school graduate from a place like Haywood County may have been forced to look far from home to find the next step. But when Derek graduated from Haywood High School in 2022, TCAT Jackson was ready to enroll him in their industrial maintenance program immediately. His training at TCAT Jackson quickly led to a quality job at Technor Apex, an auto supplier that chose to expand in Tennessee just a few years ago. That TCAT and that job are both available because of the work done together to invest in the advancement of rural communities. Not only has Tennessee become the center of the automotive industry, rural Tennessee has become the center of opportunity. You've heard me say oftentimes what happens in rural Tennessee matters to all Tennesseans. This is what it's about. Please join me in welcoming Derek Montague and his mom from Brownsville. Part of expanding economic opportunity is protecting working Tennesseans. From the birthplace of country music in Bristol to Music Row in Nashville to Beale Street in Memphis, music has been woven into the fabric of our state since the very beginning. But it's also a vital industry that employs tens of thousands of Tennesseans. Tennessee's music industry grew by 21% in the last 5 years. Today, we are the #1 state in the nation for music industry jobs. But unfortunately, Tennessee artists are facing new challenges with the rise of artificial intelligence. While this new AI technology can be used for good, it can also allow users to impersonate and make fake works in the voice and likeness of others. So this year, together with members of the General Assembly, I'm proposing legislation to protect Tennessee's rich musical heritage and ensure that no one can steal the voice of Tennessee artists. We're calling this bill the Elvis Act, to honor our very own king of rock and roll, as well as his family who's still working to protect his legacy. And tonight I want to acknowledge a Nashville songwriter who has been at the forefront of this effort to protect Tennessee artists of all kinds. Tom Douglas has written hundreds of hits, topping the music charts, hits like I Run to You, The House That Built Me, many, many more. Please join me in welcoming my friend and legendary songwriter, Tom Douglas. Tennessee has the opportunity to be the first in the state, to be the first state in the nation to enact this kind of legislation. And we hope that the Elvis Act will serve as a blueprint for states across the country. It's only right that we lead the nation in this effort. Tennessee is the music capital of the world, and we intend to keep it that way. As we explore ways to continue building on our state's firm foundation, nothing is more important than expanding opportunities for our children. The ability for young Tennesseans to succeed is the key to Tennessee's long-term success. And without a doubt, education has the power to change the trajectory of a child's life forever. We have done a lot of work in Tennessee, but we still have a ways to go in providing the best possible education for every student in the state. So 2024 is the year to make school choice a reality for every Tennessee family, every family. The premise behind education freedom, and the one thing that most of us all do agree on, is that parents know what's best for their child's education. There are thousands of parents in this state who know that their student would thrive in a different setting, but the financial barrier is simply too high. It's time that we change that. It's time that we let parents decide, and not the government, where their child goes to school and what they learn. Now, some are concerned that more choice for families could mean fewer resources for public schools. That's simply not true. As a father who sent his child to public schools, a grandfather with grandkids having been in public schools, and a governor who's visited countless schools across the state, I feel very strongly public schools are invaluable. Over the past 5 years, working together, we have invested historic amounts in public education, and that will continue. We've increased public funding for public education by more than $1.8 billion since I became governor, by far the most in our state's history. And with that increased investment, we've also modernized the way that we fund public schools for the first time in 30 years. Last year, we gave teachers the largest annual pay raise in state history. And we're not done. We are not done. We'll make another significant investment in the TISA formula this year, and we're working on a plan to help public schools retain the best and brightest teachers in their individual districts. We have placed an unprecedented focus on public education. I intend to continue to do that every year. We can give parents choice and support public schools at the same time. You'll hear me say that over and over again because it's true. These two ideas are not in conflict. There are some who will say that parents don't belong in the decision-making process about their child's education. But our responsibility is to the student and to the family, not to the status quo. When you empower parents, students succeed. And we already have success stories all across our state. Tonight I want to welcome Ariel Munson and her two sons, Nigel and Stephen. I had the opportunity to meet this incredible family months ago, and I was struck by their story. Ariel knew both of her sons learned differently. Their current education just wasn't serving them well, and what worked for Nigel didn't work so well for Stephen. But as a single parent, options were limited. She knew that the path to paying for an independent school would be difficult, even while she worked 2 jobs. But as their biggest champion, Ariel knew that she had to do something to set them up for success. So she enrolled Nigel in a public charter school that was a perfect fit for his learning style. But her other son, Stephen, still needed something different. That was right about the time when Tennessee's current choice program became available in Shelby County. She applied. Stephen was quickly accepted as the first ESA student. Ariel calls it an answered prayer. Today, Stephen is thriving at St. George's Independent School in Memphis. He's making exceptional grades. He joined the outdoor club and the soccer team. Stephen dreams of being a paleontologist. Her son, Nigel, will graduate this May at the top of his senior class at Memphis Business Academy, with a list of scholarship opportunities at 9 colleges across the nation. And it's all because Ariel realized what many of us have come to know. Each student has unique needs, and when parents have a choice, that child's life is changed forever. Please join me in welcoming Ariel and her sons, Stephen and Nigel. Parents also know best what social media does to kids. Depression and anxiety and loneliness all skyrocketing among children. Study after study tells us how damaging social media is for children. We must empower parents with the tools to help their kids online. So this year, I'm bringing a bill. It's a very good time to remind everyone that as it has been, civility is a strength. It is not a weakness. So we have to empower parents with the tools to help their kids online. This year we are bringing together a bill that will give parents tools to oversee their child's social media activity. It'll require social media companies to get parental consent for minors to create their own social media account in Tennessee. Moving from the youngest Tennesseans to the oldest, across our state, those 65 and older make up the fastest growing group of Tennesseans. Nearly a quarter of Tennesseans will be over 60 by 2030. And more older Americans, as you know, are choosing to retire here and enjoy all that the volunteer state has to offer. Because of that, we've made an important decision to take what was previously our Commission on Aging and Disability and combine it with our Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities to better serve all Tennesseans. This proposal will create a new Department of Disability and Aging, headed by Commissioner Brad Turner, that will enable better coordination, stronger advocacy. Ultimately, it'll get bureaucracy out of the way, and it'll allow both of these populations to live and to age with as much independence as possible. As y'all know, I came from the business world, and since I became governor, one of our top objectives has been making government work better for the people. And in my view, less government is better government. So this year, working with the General Assembly, we'll bring forward a plan to repeal or streamline nearly 40% of all existing rules across the executive branch. That amounts to 4,000 rules eliminated or streamlined. I'm proud that this will be one of the largest cuts of red tape, not just in Tennessee history, but for any state anywhere in the country. And cutting red tape creates a green light for job creators and job makers for Tennessee to grow its economy. As I mentioned earlier, since 2019, we've made great strides in expanding economic opportunity for rural Tennesseans. Now we have to accelerate our focus on the advancement of rural health. We know we have challenges with access to care and access to care, workforce shortages. That's why I formed the Rural Healthcare Task Force in 2021. We have great challenges in rural health care. That's why I formed the Rural Healthcare Task Force in 2021 to explore solutions to address the issues head on. And now these solutions are becoming a reality. We'll be expanding apprenticeships, providing greater access to specialty care, and telehealth, better pathways from high school to healthcare careers, and much more. So this year, building off the recommendations from the task force, we will propose the largest single investment in rural health care in state history, $200 million over the next 5 years. And this is important. This is important, and this is because this is possible because of the remarkable opportunity that we have thanks to the success of Tennessee's one-of-a-kind TennCare waiver, which continues to exceed expectations, allows us to heavily invest in some of the biggest healthcare challenges we have in our state. And because these are shared savings that we will spend, this investment in rural healthcare will come at no added cost to Tennessee taxpayers. We don't take this opportunity for granted. It's only possible thanks to the strong partnership and leadership of the General Assembly. We'll continue to see success. We maintain this conservative, responsible principle that got us here, I want to thank all of you again for the work that you've done to make this TennCare waiver a reality for Tennessee. In addition to rural health, the funds from the from this year's shared savings will allow us to again invest in mental health. Another challenge that is prevalent not just in our state, but all across the country. Nearly 4 in 10 Tennesseans report symptoms of anxiety or depression. Drug and opioid overdoses remain an enormous challenge. We've done a lot of work in the last 5 years to boost mental health resources across our state, and we will do it again. This year, we're investing more than $100 million over 5 years from the shared savings in behavioral health and substance abuse support in Tennessee. As I mentioned earlier, Tennessee is in demand. With that comes growth and new homes and new businesses, and with that comes reviews and inspections and permits. When demand is high and the projects get bigger, it's easy to fall behind, and time is money, and building delays drive up the cost of homes and businesses in Tennessee. Every day added to the schedule of a house increases the price of that house, and that matters to hardworking families all across the state. That's why this year we're proposing statewide permitting reform to accelerate business times, lower costs, safely streamline construction in Tennessee. Legislation about permitting reform might not sound like front page news, but from someone who's in the construction industry for 35 years, a bureaucratic permitting process is bad for everybody but the government. This proposal will make it easier and more cost-effective to build homes and businesses and childcare facilities and everything. Tennessee is in demand. People are moving here. One of the reasons is they know that we are committed to making it a safe place to live. There will always be more work to be done when it comes to public safety. It is a huge challenge, and we all know that. But I want to thank all of you for partnering with us to prioritize major investments to keep Tennessee communities safe. We are creating innovative programs across our justice system, resulting in Tennessee's lowest recidivism rate in state history. We provided funding to hire 200 new Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers, and this year we're proposing an additional 60 troopers to continue growing the force. I'm incredibly proud of our work together to support local law enforcement agencies with the $150 million Violent Crime Intervention Grant Fund. These dollars are at work right now in the areas of the state that need it most, places like Shelby County, where I believe that the state and local partnerships can and will make a real difference. In last year's State of the State address, I talked about the importance of public safety and why school safety matters to every single Tennessean. At that time, we had no idea that we were about to face one of the most difficult moments that our state had ever seen. Covenant experienced unimaginable tragedy. But tragedy doesn't have to be the end of the story. Tragedy doesn't have to be the end of the story. There's redemption in struggle if we lean into it. That's why over the last year, we've worked together and made significant progress building on our strong foundation of school safety, starting with a $140 million grant to place a trained armed school resource officer in every Tennessee public school. These brave Tennesseans are the first line of protection for our students and for our teachers. We appreciate their unwavering commitment to keeping our schools safe. A great example of that is the leadership of Sheriff Troy Kleiss. Crockett County has made tremendous strides in SRO staffing. And they're not alone. Crockett County joins 3 other counties in Tennessee that moved from 0 SROs to fully staffed in under a year, which is a truly remarkable achievement. Join me. Please join me in welcoming Sheriff Troy Kleiss, Officer Matt Mosier, a newly hired SRO from Crockett County. Over the past 5 years, Maria and I have traveled to every corner of our state. In all of Tennessee's natural beauty and rich resources, from the flats of the Wolf River to the peaks of Bays Mountain to the Ocoee River, this is a beautiful place. Last year, we created a new conservation strategy to preserve the state for generations to come. But there's more work to do. We've continually made investments in our state parks, the cornerstone of this conservation effort. This year's proposed budget will take it to the next level with 8 new state parks. Tennessee's outdoor heritage, our outdoor heritage extends to our rivers and our lakes and our streams. And we're proposing a Blue Way Trail development to improve access to state waterways, investing in dozens of state lakes, boosting economies, welcoming more Tennesseans to visit, to kayak, to canoe and fish our beautiful waters. We're also proposing investments to improve water quality across rivers and streams, making them safe to enjoy. Our proposed budget will also include funding to preserve our natural resources where Tennesseans and tourists are most likely to see them, from the road, with a plan to protect and enhance our scenic beauty along our major highways. Off the major highways are the drivers of Tennessee's economy, Tennessee farmers. Our agriculture, that's right. Our ag industry employs more than 360,000 Tennesseans. It generates $89 billion annually. making agriculture the #1 contributor to our state's economy. Yet today we are ranked the 3rd most threatened state for farmland loss in the country. So this year, we're proposing a farmland conservation fund, a plan to partner with Tennessee farmers who voluntarily place their land in a conservation easement, just as 28 other states do today. This will give farm families the ability to preserve and protect their farmland for future generations, securing Tennessee's rich rural heritage as a pathway to opportunity. I've often said that a conservation strategy must include investments not just for the environment, but for safe and clean and reliable energy for the future. Over the past year, thanks to your partnership, we have made great strides. Along with the $50 million nuclear energy fund that was included in our budget last year, we have established the Tennessee Nuclear Energy Advisory Council that just produced its first report to help guide our strategy using the knowledge and experience of some of Tennessee's brightest minds. And while more work needs to be done, and it is being done, Tennessee is well positioned to protect the foundation laid decades ago at Oak Ridge to not only lead the Southeast, but lead this country in a new era of energy in America. Tonight, I have attempted to give a glimpse of the state of our great state, the foundations that were laid by the generations before us, the city on a hill that we call Tennessee, the gates that welcome those who want opportunity and security and freedom, the walls that protect fiscal stewardship and public safety and our environment. We recognize the great challenges that lay before us, whether it's rural health care or workforce protection or others. We have opportunity and obligation, and it'll take each one of us as we debate and agree and disagree about the path forward to accomplish that which we all believe in, serving our fellow Tennesseans, recognizing the dignity of each one of them, each person's God-given value, and working to make a better life and a future for them all. We each have our spot on the wall, an important spot. No one greater than the other, but each one greatly necessary. And just like in Nehemiah's day, there will be those who criticize, those who see Tennessee's success and they'll try to stop it. And they will do that by trying to divide us. We shouldn't let them do that. We shouldn't let that happen. Let us stand together and remember our shared purpose. Now, only when we work together, side by side, will we build upon, protect, and create that which is one of the greatest places in all the world, and ensure that it remains that for those who live here, for those who want to live here, for their children, and for their children's children. May the Lord pour his spirit and favor out on each one of you. And may the Lord continue to bless the people and the place that make up the great state of Tennessee. Tennessee. Thank you very much.